What's up, ladies and gents, Ghost here, back with another gun guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new PDW for the Engineer class coming out with 2nd Assault, the AS VAL. So once again, it seems DICE have gone and leaked another weapon to us. I'm not sure if they're actually doing this on purpose anymore, or if they've really made the same mistake that they did with China Rising. But in any case, the AS VAL is currently the only 2nd Assault weapon that we can currently gain access to. To do so, you'll have to complete a new assignment. First of all, you're going to need to go and get 10 squad repairs. I found the best way to do this is simply spawn on a squad mate who's in a vehicle, and whenever he takes some damage, hop out, whip out your repair tool, and just give him a helping hand. Once you've got 10 repairs, you can move on to the next part, which entails being in a helicopter for 10 minutes. Now, it is worth noting that the transport helis do not actually count towards this assignment, so when it says spend 10 minutes in helicopters, it has to either be a scout helicopter or an attack helicopter. I found it best to do the squad repairs first, and when I was sure I'd gotten all 10 of those, just hop into a helicopter and fly around until you simply unlock the weapon. Now, if you're somebody who played Battlefield 3 and you're familiar with how the AS VAL works in that game, you're going to be a little bit shocked. They have pretty much changed the weapon entirely. Back in BR3, it used to be pinpoint accurate and had a first shot multiplier of 0. They've now buffed that, or I suppose nerfed that, up to 3.5 in Battlefield 4. Coupled with an upwards recoil pull of 0.4, this means that this thing has a pretty hefty kick to it. However, they have gone and buffed the damage model. The AS VAL is currently doing 30 maximum damage, dropping down to 17 minimum at 50 meters range. And those two stats combined actually means it has the most damage output of any of the PDWs and also any of the carbines. So if you're looking for something that will dish out a lot of damage in a short amount of time at close range as an engineer, the AS VAL is a great choice. Now, something else that makes this weapon quite unique and appealing, personally to me, is that it comes with an attached silencer. So you actually don't get a barrel attachment for this weapon. You have a silencer stuck on there whether you like it or not, and I feel this is really iconic for the AS VAL. I love this weapon in any game that I play with it, and it's no different in Battlefield 4. It's also extremely useful for flanking round enemy positions and sort of using it as a close range hit and run weapon. So I know what you guys must be thinking, most powerful PDW in the game and always silenced. What are the drawbacks to this weapon? Well, I'm going to pull up the stats here from synthic.com, and as you can see, the recoil of this thing is pretty crazy here, with an upwards pull of 0.4, left pull 0.4, and a right pull of 0.1, all coupled with a first shot multiplier of 3.5. This thing has a crazy kick to it. On top of that, you're going to notice that the weapon actually only has 20 rounds in a magazine. Now, back in BF3, you could actually unlock extended mags for this weapon, and really, until you'd done so, it wasn't really one of the best weapons in the game without the extended mags. In Battlefield 4, we don't have extended mags as an attachment for the weapon, so you're only stuck with your 20 rounds. And you can imagine, with that 900 rate of fire, you're going to burn through those 20 rounds in a matter of seconds. This is definitely one of the drawbacks to the weapon. Double kills are definitely possible, but triple kills or even quadruple kills you can pretty much forget about. Triple kills are possible, but they're really going to be hard to pull off with only 20 rounds and firing at 900 RPM. Generally speaking, the higher the rate of fire of your weapon, the more rounds you're actually going to end up accidentally wasting. Now, luckily with this weapon, we do have a pretty snappy reload time of 1.95 seconds, which helps out a lot. However, if you spend the last round that is in the chamber, it's going to take you 2.9 seconds. So try and reserve that last round if you can, as it's going to cut a whole second off of your reload time. So the way you're going to want to use this weapon is, like I mentioned before, really hit and run. Go around the corner, flank enemies, try and pick 1 or 2 people off, move back, take cover, reload, and then get ready to fight again. You really can't engage in long firefights like you can with some of the weapons that have 30 rounds and a much slower rate of fire. If you were using an unsilenced weapon, chances are if you shot a couple of guys, went back around the corner to reload and take cover, somebody's going to run straight round that corner, having seen you on the minimap, and take you out. Not so with the AS VAL. You're always silenced all the time, so you can easily get away with shooting at people. But as you can see from the background footage here, I'm not trying to engage people at longer ranges. If I see somebody at long range, I'm simply going to let them go, especially if they haven't even seen me. You really don't want to be getting in long range firefights because you're going to lose against most of the other weapons. I'm trying to take cover behind something all the time, block the line of sight between me and my enemies until I can move up and get close enough to them. Once I'm close enough, and trying to flank them from the side or from the rear, go back behind cover, reload, do some more flanking, and really back rage them, and that is what this weapon is good at. What it is not good at is those long range firefights. It has a pretty big bloom increase with a 0.13 degree spread per bullet that you fire, so at 900 rounds per minute, that bloom is going to start getting hugely exaggerated at longer ranges. It also has a pretty slow bullet velocity of 320 meters per second, which is expected of a silenced weapon, so the further your target is away, the more you're going to have to lead them. So before we go over attachments, let's just take a quick look at the recoil of this weapon here. Now normally I would recommend burst firing most weapons, but since the AS VAL has such a huge first shot multiplier of 3.5, I would recommend doing burst fire as little as possible. At short to sort of short medium ranges, you really want to be going full auto and simply pulling down and to the left on your mouse or your right thumbstick in order to compensate for that recoil. Moving up to medium and medium to long range engagements, if you absolutely have to, you're going to have to burst fire somewhat to stop that bloom getting too large, but try and keep it to a minimum. Now as for attachments to these weapons, they're mostly going to be based around helping you to control the recoil of the gun and control the bloom a little bit if you prefer that. For a gun sight, we're going with the red dot sight, which you will unlock for this weapon first. Unfortunately, if you want the Cobra sight or the Coyote, you're going to have to rack up quite a few kills and get it through a weapon battle pack. I would go with the laser sight for my accessory, pretty much a no-brainer for any PDW. It's going to give you some great hipfire there at those close range combat situations. Now the underbarrel grip is a bit of a personal choice. The Ergo grip is personally my least used grip on this weapon, for the most part because you really need something that's going to help you control that recoil, especially as you can't put a muzzle brake or a compensator on this weapon. So if you absolutely love hip firing, you might want to look at going with the Ergo grip, but for most of you I would probably recommend the angled grip or the stubby grip. If you have problems with the upwards recoil and that initial kick of the weapon, go with the angled grip, but if you can manage to get used to it and control the recoil by yourself, I would go with the stubby grip, since that's going to help you control that bloom a little bit at some of those medium to more longer range encounters. One last little point about field upgrades: if you're playing something like Domination and you don't really care too much for running with the mechanic or anti-tank field upgrade path, I would go with the offensive path, primarily because it gives you the ammo perk and it will enable you to carry a few more clips. If you go with the standard perks, you're only going to be getting around 5 clips for this weapon, and you're going to burn through all 5 of those clips in no time at all. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for this video. This was my little look at the AS VAL. Hope you all enjoyed it and found it useful. If you did, maybe you can do me a favour and give the video a like down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.